I seriously, Glenn, we were just talking to Dr. Redlener, and this was so stressful as a country yesterday on top of the pandemic. I mean, you tweeted Trump-inspired riot at U.S. Capitol during election certification remedies, 25th Amendment removal for unfitness and or impeach and remove from office, and expulsion from Congress for those who stand against the American voters like Hawley and Cruz. I couldn't agree with you more. And that's for a start, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many more Americans are we going to allow Donald Trump to hurt in the next 13 days? I mean, our inaction and the cowardice of the Republican Party has brought us here. It brought us to an attack on the most important building on the most important day. Certifying the presidential election. And we allowed Donald Trump's troops to breach the U.S. Capitol because we have opted to do nothing. And, you played that clip, Steph, of Joe Biden stepping up and being a president and trying to reduce the temperature of the country, trying to restore order, trying to urge the protesters to be peaceful. And then he challenged Donald Trump to do the same. I was surprised when Donald Trump took him up on the challenge. And what did Donald Trump do? In the midst of the riot, when people were getting hurt, destroying property, when lives were being lost, he spent 60 seconds sizing them up even more, saying they stole it from us, they stole it from me, they stole it from you. Glenn, you've got to be strong.
Glenn, listen, Sean, give me 14. Is this not Exhibit 8? We have all this on tape. This is Trump yesterday, gas on the fire.
There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace.
Wow.
I mean, that and the tape from the morning, Glenn, is it not evidence? Is that not evidence? I mean,
that's inciting a riot. We have federal laws on the books criminalizing riots and inciting riots. We also have local DC laws on the books outlawing riots. Donald Trump was the leader of the riot. In a normal world, there would already be an arrest warrant issued for him, and he would make his first appearance in federal court tomorrow.
Well, Glenn, okay, so we've said this is a domestic 9/11 that happened yesterday. These are domestic terrorists that attacked our Capitol, our house, the people's house. What the F happened, Glenn? I don't understand. Why have we had how many, as a prosecutor, how many press conferences you do? We don't, who got shot? Who shot her? The woman that died? Where's the FBI? Where's the DOJ? Where's the Department of Homeland Security?
Yeah,
what happened?
Inaction breeds inaction. And unfortunately, we can expect nothing from this Department of Justice, even though the line workers are still doing the hard work of the American people. The line workers, the line prosecutors are not the ones making these big ticket decisions. That would be the leadership. It was Bill Barr until a week ago, and now it's this Rosen guy who is no better than Bill Barr. So we should expect nothing until January 20th, when I assume Merrick Garland will become the acting attorney general. He used to be a prosecutor in my former office, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. He took on some difficult cases. He was on the trial team of the Mayor Marion Barry drug prosecution. He was the supervising prosecutor on the Oklahoma City bombing case. Wow. Yes, he is somewhat quiet, somewhat reserved, very circumspect, very smart. I'm hoping he's going to be a quiet storm, and he's going to come in and he's going to hold all of these criminal politicians accountable.
I don't see how we have any choice. And I do have to say, I agree with Catherine on Twitter, who said Merrick Garland being nominated to Attorney General as Mitch McConnell, who stopped him from having a chance of being a Supreme Court justice, loses his Senate Majority Leader title, is some weird full circle stuff. I mean, you have to hope it's the beginning of some kind of karma.
Yesterday,
I know you. I know you
Yesterday
said
really was it was the best of days and the worst of days, because
Oh yeah,
we took the Senate. So
yep.
now
Mhm.
Mitch McConnell's graveyard gets shut down for good. Now we can actually work to do some good for the American people, instead of having Mitch McConnell kill every duly passed bill that is sent over by the House of Representatives.
Yeah, and you said Merrick Garland's a man of honor and integrity. He has significant prosecutorial experience. He's an accomplished judge, fair, civil, loyal to the rule of law. When you said we now look forward to him holding all criminal politicians accountable for their crimes, I'm starting right at the top. I mean, you talked about on Twitter, you said Trump, Cruz and company, Josh Hawley, the Kansas City Star writes, has
Gomer.
blood on his hands, right? Inspired, encouraged, and in a very real sense, organized this riot. This is a coup attempt by Trump and company in their naked, unprincipled quest to unconstitutionally retain power. Glenn, we cannot set this precedent. Isn't that what this is about in sense of justice?
This is about the future viability of our republic. Look, we kept our republic yesterday, first on November 3rd, and then again yesterday. We kept our republic, not without a fight, but it's not over, because unless you now address what has been done to the country, to the American people, and to the immigrants who came here only to be thrown in cages, have their kids thrown in other cages, never to be reunited. If we don't address all that, and several 100,000 COVID deaths that were a product of Donald Trump's criminal negligence, if we don't address all that, we've only delayed losing our republic. We haven't defeated it.
Yeah, yeah. You had a great tweet about this. You said, I understand how a virus spreads. I'll never understand how treason has spread through many of the Republicans in Congress. We know masks can help prevent transmission of the virus. Only accountability will stop the spread of treason. It won't disappear like a miracle. Again, why aren't there calls immediately for Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz to have resigned? I'm hearing these stories. Oh, they're talking about the 25th Amendment, and do it. What does the next 14 days hold, and how much blood or how many people are going to have on their hands if they don't remove him? I mean, what, in your opinion, is better, or do you do both 25th Amendment and impeachment?
You do both. There was the loss of life yesterday. There was property damage. There was the desecration of the Capitol. And are we willing to allow something like that to happen every day for the next 13 days? Or are we going to stand up and say 25th Amendment? Though that may be destined to failure, let's get it going. Impeachment and removal, you can do that quickly if you have the political will. And how about expulsion from Congress under, Article 1 for the politicians who put this in motion? Because, Steph, had it not been for Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, Louis Gohmert, and a handful of others, had it not been for them lying to the American people about this being an unfair election, yesterday would not have happened. Yes, I blame the Trump supporters, but they were only answering the false call put out by Trump, Gohmert, Hawley, Cruz, and others. How about expulsion from Congress as, responsibility and accountability for that?
Yeah, we just got to make this a nation of laws. I mean, this seems like 1,000 years ago. You tweeted about the Trump tapes calling Ratzenberger. I mean, this is just, they wouldn't even allow witnesses in the impeachment trial because they knew if they did, they would have to remove him from office. I bet you a bunch of them behind closed doors were wishing they had done the right thing then. But, because they didn't, and every other thing is just, oh, well, like the Trump call. But you said the Trump tape sound like a mob boss giving orders to a lieutenant. Trump tells Georgia's Secretary of State to find the exact number of votes he needs to flip the results. This sounds exactly like what we would catch our RICO defendants saying when we were up on a wire. And they didn't do anything about that. They didn't do anything when 10 defense secretaries, including Cheney and Rumsfeld, said we are really in danger here. Do something.
We actually heard in real time on a recorded call a president overtly, expressly try to steal the election, saying basically, hey guys, we're all Republicans. We're all on the same team. I need about 11,000 and change votes. If they fall off the back of a truck, fine. Get them, bring them to me so we can declare me the winner.
Now, Yesterday, Ratzenberger was forced to leave the Capitol in Georgia out of concerns for his safety. Rioters across the country were emulating what was happening in D.C., right in Austin, in Arizona. There was vandalism. There was a death threat against Republicans, Glenn, right?
Yeah. All a product of Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud. That's why, Steph, it doesn't take an experienced criminal litigator to look at this evidence and say all of this violence is a product not of Donald Trump's rhetoric, but of his lies. He's filled their heads full of lies about stolen elections. That's why he owns all this violence. And if we don't hold him accountable beginning on January 20th, we are slouching toward the end of our republic.
So, Glenn, tell us technically what would happen. What would and should Donald Trump be charged with?
Oh, where to begin, Steph?
Yeah,
so
where to begin, right.
But
just for yesterday.
First of all, we open a grand jury. For yesterday. So for yesterday, you've got, first of all, he is responsible for all of the crimes of the troops that he put in motion. So there is obviously destruction of property. There are assaults out the wazoo. Wazoo is a legal term. We have to investigate the shooting death that occurred because there could be sort of a felony murder homicide liability there. There are any number of federal statutes that are violated when you trespass on federal property, when you destroy federal property. So, but you can never answer the question of what do we charge him with until you take the first necessary non-negotiable step of opening a grand jury investigation and putting all the evidence before the grand jury. And then you sort out, okay, what are the strongest and most appropriate charges based on the evidence you develop?
What is James Comey thinking? Our friend and yours, Frank Laguzzi, said Comey's wrong. And you said on Twitter, dangerously wrong. Comey, I guess it was before yesterday, but said Donald Trump should not be prosecuted when he leaves office federally. What is he thinking?
I don't understand. And he says that will help rebuild the trust between the Department of Justice and the people. Yeah, if you decline to hold all of the criminal politicians accountable for victimizing the American people, somehow that will rebuild trust. That's why I said he's not only wrong, as Frank said, but he's dangerously wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Glenn, like I say, all I knew is I had to talk to you, but like you said, where do you even start with what is happening? And this is either going to be the longest 2 weeks of our lives, or somebody is going to do the right thing and remove him, right? Yeah. And it is interesting. I feel like the fact that nobody's really talking about resignation means they know they can't control him anymore. He needs to be removed by 25th Amendment or impeachment, right?
And Steph, if we as a government, as a people, sit back and coast through the next 13 days and people continue to get hurt, shame on us. Then it's at least atmospherically, if not legally, on all of us as well.
Yeah. Well, and as you say, investigation first into, all of this. Capitol Police, what happened? Why have we still not heard from law enforcement as to what happened yesterday?
I say, Steph, there were only 52 arrests made yesterday, and they were largely for curfew violations. Now, I have two observations about that. First of all, if this was a Black Lives Matter protest at the Capitol, people would have been shot and everyone would have been ruled justified. But what we had was, it seemed like law enforcement was buddied up with these protesters, with these rioters, for whatever reason. 52 arrests. Do you realize every day in Washington, D.C., we arrest between 75 and 150 people? I know because I work those lockup lists. What we have to do is sit there in the basement of the courthouse and review every single arrest to see which ones we want to charge and which ones we want to decline to charge. If we ordinarily make 75 to 150 arrests when there's not a riot, how can it be there were only 52 arrests for all the crime we saw? Now, real quickly, we don't want to take police resources away from where the violence is occurring. And once you lock one person up, it takes a lot of police resources to transport them, process them, and do all. I get it. So we see all of these people on tape inside the Capitol, breaking stuff, stealing stuff, hurting people, assaulting police officers. Every one of them better be identified, and there better be an arrest warrant applied for, and they better be locked up, and they better be held accountable.
Thank you. Hashtag justice is coming. Thank you, Glen Kirschner. You're just the medicine we needed this morning.
Thank you, Steph. Feel better.